Hello and welcome once again to our coverage of the 2019 Ball Hockey World Championships from Košice, Slovakia, where things are getting clear as to what teams will compete in the gold and bronze medal games respectively. For tomorrow, we are at the start of the second semi-final right now between Czech Republic and Finland to find out who will face Slovakia in the final and who will battle it out with Canada for bronze medals. The first semi-final that ended only a couple of minutes ago was quite eventful as Slovakia took it by a commanding score of 6-1, but things got a little heated up in the third between the two teams as plenty of fights materialized on the pitch between both sides. So let's hope we'll witness an entertaining and a clean game as well in the second semi-final as Finland takes on Czech Republic. Here is the starting goaltender for Finland, Tomi Kuru, and his opponent will be Jan Šimara, as the ball has already been dropped for this second semi-final between Finland and Czech Republic. It begins on an offside goal on the offensive blue line as Finland, playing in white jerseys, was trying to advance into the offensive zone, but only a face-off in the neutral zone. Now Czechs playing in red sweaters. Now first time on the ball in their own zone as Jan Pospišil begins the attack. Now a dump in, which is chased down by the Czechs, who can set up, and now a pass in front of the net. Good battle from Martin Špaček, who is still battling with two Finnish players. Now he got some help by the way of Radim Štěpaník. He's still holding on to the ball. Now he makes his way around the net and he's got some open space. He tried to pass, but it was not there for Daniel Hnízdil, who was ready to fire on the net of Tomi Kuru. Another long shot this time. It deflects right in front of the crease, but Tomi Kuru just watched it as it passed through his crease. So a first change for both teams. Czech Republic had a first crack at opposition's net. Now it's Finland's turn. A bounce pass now onto the stick of Pohjola. Passes on the point. A long shot is deflected, and a interesting situation arises in front of Jan Šimara, as he didn't have to make the save, but Finland was quite close to getting a shot on him. Now settled behind the Finnish net. As Mikko Hivonen circles with it. Now he leaves it up for Ville Vanhanen, who is waiting for his teammates to get forward. Now he dumps it in. Two Finnish players going after it, but it's controlled in the corner by the Czechs. And now all the way behind the net. Good run this time by Jaromír Markitan, and now it's cleared out of the zone and for an icing, so play will come back in front of Jan Šimara in Czech Republic's goal. Certainly Czech Republic has to be considered a slight favorite for this game, as they have been really good so far in this tournament, winning their group. But Finland, on the other hand, has shown what they are made of, winning a quarter-final match against Greece. Now a shot immediately after the face-off was saved by Jan Šimara, as Sami Pietsalo tested his attention early in this game. Still only 3 minutes have been played. I will go back to the quarterfinals, where Finland faced Greece and they were down for quite a lot in the game. They were losing 2-1, but then in the last 5 minutes of the game they scored twice and really showed some heart by advancing into this semi-final match against Czech Republic. Now a tripping call is gonna go against the Czechs. So Finland will go on a power play for the first time, as Lampo won the face-off, but he immediately was tripped up by the man who stood against him on the draw. And it was Martin Pala who will sit for two. So now Mikko Hivonen on the face-off, as Martin Pala is now heading to the box. Ivonen wins the face-off, but Czechs had a chance to clear. Now it goes out of play. But it certainly was deflected. The question is, who was the last one to touch the ball? And it looks like it were Finnish players, because the draw will come outside in the neutral zone. Now controlled, and Kangas immediately put it on the net. He was not waiting for his teammates to set up. Now the net is off as hoping for a rebound. There was Johannes Pukema who ended up tangled up with one of the Czech players. Czech Republic had a bit of an easier path to the semifinals. They went up against Finland in the quarters, beating them 4-1. So quite comfortable victory for Finland, for Czech Republic, excuse me, who now have a great chance to make it to gold medal game against Slovakia. But they will have to defend this power play by Finland first. Viitanen. It's Lauri Viitanen on the point during this power play. Still another minute, 20 seconds to go. Controlled by the Finns. Still a bit of trouble with it now. A long shot, and Czechs have the chance to clear, and they will do so. They can even go on the attack as Tomi Kuru has to play it. Now a long pass. And no offside for the Finns. They can continue. Pukema, he was trying to dig his way in front of the net. Now a breakoff for the Czechs in a great shooting lane. And a spot for Zdeněk Král, who tested this man, Tomi Kuru, 36-year-old goalkeeper. In the quarterfinals, his goaltending partner Vilehard Kusamo was in the net. Now the Finnish coaches elected to go the way of a more experienced goaltender, as Tomi Kuru is 11 years older than his teammate. So let's see how this works out for Finland, as they still are on the first power play, as Toni Lampo chases it, and now a shot that is high on Jan Šimara, but he makes the save and allows no rebound. Jan Šimara is number one for the Czechs on the other side, and he made a great save on this attempt by Finland. It was Nieminen who put it on the net. Now Dalimil Zvonek on the face-off for the Czechs, but he loses it to Arttu Viitanen. Three brothers on Finnish side. Arttu Viitanen, Lauri and Jani Viitanen. Now it's Arttu Viitanen. He passes to the point. A long shot goes over the net as Czechs are back to full strength. They can start the attack. Now already in the zone, and a lot of space on a backhander for Martin Pala. He just got off the penalty box, out of the penalty box, and he immediately could have challenged Tomi Kuru in Finland's net. So first power play is behind us, no score for Finland, as they had a couple of chances on the power play but could not bury one past Jan Šimara. So we're still scoreless. Viitanen now, Finland tries it along the boards. They now dump it in on a backhander, chased down by Ali Huki. Alex Huki is stripped off the ball, but only momentarily, as Johannes Pukema takes it, and he's down as well, and there's gonna be another penalty. So An undisciplined start for the Czechs, who will be short-handed once again. Tomáš Kudela is going to the box for this tripping call on the Finnish forward as Johannes Pukema went down. So an assistant captain for the Czechs, Kudela, gets to sit for 2 as his teammates will have to defend against another Finland's power play, which has been quite good so far at the tournament. Now they have a chance for the second time in this semi-final. Obviously you have to make most of your man advantages at this stage of the tournament. And now a good pass in front of that and another one, but Toni Lampo couldn't put his stick on it. Still Finland. Pietsalo, he scored in the quarterfinal against Greece. Toni Lampo did as well, a hard shot from the point. Lampo gets it behind the net. He's got Pietsalo. Pietsalo back to the point. There is Toni Jeskanen, and now he takes a one-timer. Good block by the Czechs. Obviously it hurt, but cannot allow to let off now. Now the Czechs are able to clear, and this time the penalty is going against Team Finland as Czech captain Pavel Kubeš took a hard hit. You can see it here as it was almost a hockey collision as Juuso Nieminen put him on his back. So Finland is not gonna score on the second power play as well, as they negate it by a penalty on their own side. So 4-on-4 ball hockey for the next minute, and then a short Czech power play. So men in the red jerseys survived 3 minutes of combined short-handed play, and now they can start the attack as Finland takes it away. And now a break-off for Finland. It was Paulus Kariniemi who was left in front of Jan Šimara on a drive, but he could not get much on the shot, even on the backhand rebound, as Šimara was not troubled. Czechs will want to play out the rest of their penalty with ball on their sticks as they wait their fifth teammate so they can begin their power play. Now it's reality as Tomáš Kudela hops back on the pitch. So a short power play for Czechs. They still have to cross the blue line. Now they did by a dump in, and they battle for the ball in the corner. Now they come up with it, and they can build the power play from the point. Petr Filip, he passed it on the right wing. Now behind the net, a bouncing ball could not be controlled by Jan Bílý. He gets it back to his teammate. Now Bílý back to Filip. Still no shots on the power play, and now it's intercepted by the Finnish players, and they could not get the ball out. So Petr Filip still with the ball. Now the penalty is over for Finland as well, as Juuso Nieminen did a great job of going back onto the pitch as he immediately intercepted a Czech pass, and the Finns cleared it all the way up to Jan Šimara as the stoppage of play. For a draw and Finland's zone, they can go for changes. Both teams had some power play opportunities, but neither one can score. So we still await their first one in this second semi-final. Now Tomáš Vrobel, Matěj Fraňo, he controls along the boards. He gets it back to Tomáš Vrobel, who now maneuvers in the corner. Now back to Franjo. Those two exchanging a ball on this shift, with Finland only controlling. Now Vrobel, he makes his way in front of the net, and a one-timer was there, but it was wide by Petr Danko, who wanted to put the ball on the net of Tomi Kuru, and Finland only clears. So once again they can change, but they will have to defend against a defensive zone face-off as Pala makes his way back into the game for the Czechs. Now a top line for Team Finland back in the game as Kangas takes the face-off and he wins it to Lampo. Now a dump in which Lampo tries to retrieve behind the net, but only to the Czech sticks. Still not out of play, so Finland can carry on with their attack, and a sharp angle shot is set aside by Jan Šimara in the net easily. Czechs start the attack along their own blue line, but they could still not get it out of the zone. With 4 minutes and 25 seconds left to play in the first. Now a long pass, could not get to the stick of Czechs. Now on the far post, waiting for it was Dalimil Zvonek, who is still now on the ball behind the net. Still Czechs with some pressure, and now a shot that is whistled wide, and one of the Czech players is hurting, and now he found his way to the bench. There was some collision in the circles area. Let's hope the Czech player is okay. I'm not sure who it was. Maybe Zvonek, who had possession for most of the last shift. Now Finland with a careful first pass. Now they get it out of their zone. Ahola dumped it out. Now Czechs have another chance, but the ball could not get to Daniel Hnízdil, who was waiting for it on a one-timer. Still the Czechs. Now a good forecheck from Martin Špaček, who retrieves the ball, but not for long, as Finland with a transition. A bit of a trip on Kariniemi, but no call. There have been plenty of those so far in the first, as Finland had 2 power play opportunities and Czechs had 1, and another one will go against Czech Republic, I suppose, as certainly Czechs don't like it very much, but nothing they can do about it. The man who was hurting on the last play was Martin Pala in the end, as he took this cross check in the back. But let's focus on another Finland's power play, as Zdeněk Král is in the box. So a third opportunity for Finland in this period alone. A lot of undisciplined play by the Czechs so far. Obviously, this is a very big game, and there could be quite some nervousness around for both teams so far. Finland has had more shots on goal, but only thanks to a lot of power play minutes. Now they go at it again. A sharp angle shot is deflected by Jan Šimara from Johannes Pukema, who tried to surprise him. So another draw to the glove side of Czech goalkeeper. Finns control. And now they will set up Hivonen. Still a lot of time to go on this power play. Viitanen on the point. Hivonen. He's got Pukema. Hivonen back to Viitanen, who fires a one-timer. Controlled by Johannes Pukema. Now Hivonen still. Everything happening on the right side of the Finnish power play. Now back on the left. Where is Alex Huki? Now a deflection which ends up out of play as both teams can change. Czechs again successfully killing off a first half of the penalty. As Zdeněk Král is in the box. Finland makes a wholesale change, it looks like. So a new unit in the game for men in white jerseys, as Pietzalo is now the point man on the power play. He dumps it in. Lampo didn't get to the ball. And the Czechs clear with 1 minute 20 seconds to go in the first. And another 50 seconds to go in the Finnish power play. They still could not score. This is their third man advantage, I remind you, and Pietzalo will now take it from Jeskanen, and now Juuso Nieminen. He tried to look for an open man in front of the net, but he could not pass the puck. And now a bit of an open space for Toni Jeskanen, who fired it on Jan Šimara, but he made a shoulder save. Now a point shot blocked into the corner as Czech penalty kill is coming to an end. Zdeněk Král comes back to this game. Still 20 seconds to go in the first as Toni Lampo rather takes it behind his own net and go for a change, as probably nothing more will happen here in the first. In this second semi-final of Ball Hockey World Championships. We are scoreless after 15 minutes. Not much happening in front of both goaltenders as we leave the first period tied. Nothing. Ball is ready to be dropped for the second period of this second semi-final at the men's 2019 Ball Hockey World Championships. So far, not much doing in front of the net of Finland or Czech Republic. Finns have had 3 power play opportunities, but they could not score and put the ball past Jan Šimara, who's been really sharp so far, as well as his opponent Tomi Kuru. Perhaps the biggest chance of the first 15 minutes was a shot short-handed by Zdeněk Král, who really tested Finnish goalkeeper. But we are still scoreless as both teams go for their first change. So let's hope second period will bring more excitement. And immediately the Czechs answer, they score. And it was Zdeněk Král, I think, or maybe Bílý, who was also there, but it was Zdeněk Král who makes it 1-0 Czech Republic on this shot right after the draw, which was won by the Czechs, and a quick shot ends up in the back of the net. Tomi Kuru allows the first goal. So Zdeněk Král opens the scoring. A 23-year-old forward for the Czech team. It was the second goal of the tournament for Zdeněk Král, who also has 3 assists so far, so his total goes up to 5 points, and certainly this is the most important score in this tournament for him. Czechs have another phenomenal player who is playing on the same line with Zdeněk Král, and it is Jan Bílý, who already has 12 points in the tournament. He is one of the best. Maybe he will find himself on the All-Star team when the tournament is over. So the Czechs are up 1-0. It's time for the Finns to answer. Certainly a quick goal doesn't help the confidence of Team Finland. And now another whistle, perhaps another penalty call. We'll have to wait and see, as it looks like Lauri Viitanen will be in the penalty box for this collision with Matej Fraňo. So whether it was interference or tripping, either way, it's power play for Czech Republic. The first opportunity basically to have a full power play. The Czechs had 1 minute of 5-on-4 advantage in the first, when one of the Finland's players was sitting in the box. Now a full 2-minute advantage and a chance to jump ahead onto a 2-0 lead for the Czechs, as they are already set up in the zone. One-timer passed up on by Petr Filip, who is on the point on this power play. So a good passing by Team Czech Republic. Now it's cleared though by the Finland, who complete at least a 1-player change. The remaining 3 still have to defend against a Czech power play. Now it's the goal scorer, or rather it's Bílý, now in front of the net. Hrabaš waiting for it. Now he gets it. He fires, but way wide. Filip. He gets it back to Bílý, who is now on the point. Doesn't have a shooting lane. Now he does, and he fires a one-timer. It goes out of play. So Finland can complete the change, as they survived probably the worst in this Czech power play, as the Czechs had possession but could not add a second one. So far the only goal scorer has been Zdeněk Král, who fired it home after the draw to give Czech Republic the lead. Now battling for it was Talimil Zvonek. Still another 30 seconds to go on the man advantage for Czech Republic. Point shot, a hard one, goes wide. Another chance. This time it is passed by Kruček, and Tommy Kuru could not cover for a whistle, so instead it's Martin Kruček on the point. He showed off his hard shot during the last play, and now a good pass and a lot of space for the Czechs. They still battle for it. Right in front of the crease, and now Lauri Viitanen is back in this game, so Finland survived a first 2-minute advantage for Czech Republic in this game. But it was not for lack of trying, because Czechs really threatened the net of Tommy Kuru. During the 2 minutes, they could not add a second one, so it's Finland's turn to come up with something, but definitely not this time, as they cleared the ball for an icing, as Toni Lampo could not get the ball back for the Finns, and they now have to go back into their own zone. So less than ideal start for Finland. Finland continues here in the second. Hnízdil to take the face-off against Kangas. Maybe a top line for Finland can start something in the offensive zone. As players in the white jerseys now in control, and a good transition where Sami Pietsalo takes it. He's been the best player for Team Finland in this tournament, scoring 4 times, also adding 4 assists. Danger number 1 along with Lampo and Kangas. Czechs counter, a bad pass, could not be reached by Martin Špaček. Now a breakaway the other way, and Lampo makes it 1 goal apiece. So out of nowhere, Finland evens it up. On the breakaway, Toni Lampo made Czechs play for a mistake. A long pass from Juuso Nieminen got to Toni Lampo, who buried it on the glove hand of Jan Šimara to make it 1-1. So we start all over again. Toni Lampo only needed some space to go all alone against the Czech netminder, and he beats him on the glove hand. So I was just mentioning the top line for Finland, who immediately scored to make it 1 goal apiece. Now collision in the neutral zone as Lauri Viitanen is down. He is now back up. For Toni Lampo, it was the 3rd goal of the tournament. He's got 6 points. And this is clearly the most dangerous line on Finland's side, as there is a bit of blood on the field. So Lauri Viitanen maybe took a ball to the face or a stick. I think he's maybe bleeding from the nose. It's hard to say, but an unpleasant experience for him. That is fair to say. Now we'll have a better view. Now it was the stick of Jan Bieli who got it on the face of Lauri Viitanen, who's been one of the best defensemen on Team Finland at this year's tourney. So meanwhile, we can take a look at both goals. First it was Deněk Král, and then this breakaway, which could not be stopped by Tomáš Kudela, who was trying to interfere with Toni Lampo, but he never looked back, and buried it past Jan Šimara. So everything is ready to get started now as the field has been cleaned. As Arttu Viitanen takes the face-off against Bieli, he wins it. Finland certainly encouraged by the first score. Now has the puck, or the ball rather, on their stick, and it gets dumped into the zone all the way from their own zone. So it will be an icing, as here you see Jan Bieli, a 12-point player for Team Czech Republic in this tournament. Both top lines now on the field. A little delay. Maybe some problems with the clock, we don't know, as we wait. A ball to be dropped. Now Finland controls Sami Pietsalo, but only momentarily, as Matej Franjo takes it away from him. Now Nieminen, a second try at it. Still Finland cannot clear, so it's Czechs with some pressure on the point. Ladislav Havlík tried a shot. Now behind the net, Tomáš Vrobel. He is still protecting the ball well. Now he gives it up for Matej Franjo. A good cycle by the Czechs on this shift. And Vrobel, he turns with it. And he had another whack at it. But a good save from Tomi Kuru. There were two shots on the play, both courtesy of Tomáš Vrobel, a 29-year-old forward for Team Czech Republic. He turned and he fired, but not past the finish goalie. So we're still tied 1-1 after both goals have been scored here in the second. Still a lot of time to go in the second semi-final. Now Finland with a rush, but a bad pass, and a 2-on-1 developing the other way, but now Finnish players get back. Namely, it was Alex Huki who negated an odd-man rush for the Czechs. Now a dangerous shot. This time it was Martin Pala who let it go. And Tomi Kuru was screened in front, so he could not see much of the shot. Now a miss from Jiří Hrabáš. Still Czechs on the ball, but now a misunderstanding between them, and Finland can go the other way. Huki could not get to the ball, and the Czechs go back the other way finally. The pace of play has gone up a bit on both sides as Czechs control. Martin Špaček, he's got an open teammate in front, and another rebound. It was Daniel Hnízdil who had this great opportunity. Now a point shot is blocked right in front of Tomi Kuru. He's been the busier man in the past minutes as the Czech Republic is trying to get back in front in this game. And you can see also many Czech fans found their way into the stands of Steel Arena for this semi-final. On the face-off, it is Pavel Kubeš, but he loses it. As Pohjola now gets it only momentarily. As a good back check by Petr Filip, who gets the ball to his defensive partner. Král couldn't get to the ball. Finland good on the forecheck. Now They are trying to pressure, but quickly lose the ball. Toni Eskanen could not hold on to it. Now a long point shot. It goes just wide of the net of Jan Šimaran. Still Finland, and now a open space. A good block. On the Czech side, it was Václav Šlechhofer who blocked the shot. Now Král with some open space. He tried to pass, and still he is battling for the ball. And now Jari Markus Pohjola takes it. Taneli Marietta. But this pass will only end up on Czech sticks. Jaromír Markitan takes it. A long pass goes on the net, so no stoppage in play. Matěj Fraňo turning with it in the corner. Getting checked by Arttu Viitanen. Now back and behind the net. Tomáš Vrobel, who had a chance earlier. He protects the ball so well. And again, he made a good play to his teammate Matěj Fraňo. Put it on the net, but he missed. Now still controlled by the Czechs. And into Vrobel again, a quick shot, whistled just wide of Tomi Kuru. And now Finland can settle down with a little less than 6 minutes to go in the second. We're tied. Thanks to goals by Toni Lampo and Zdeněk Král. Sirkala now takes it behind the net and he leaves it up for his teammates. They go for a change. Now good transition by Finland and some open space and a shot from the wing, even a rebound. It was Sami Pietsalo who had a go at it. His shot was stopped by Jan Šimaran, but he's had some problems with it. And that is why Sami Pietsalo even had a rebound opportunity. Let's take a look at it again as Pietsalo saw the puck ball bouncing out of the hands of Czech netminder, and he immediately wanted to bury the rebound. Now Hyvönen on the face-off. He's up against Hnízdil. So Finland threatened for a change, and now a long shot out of the glove of Šimara. Czechs now on the ball in the offensive zone, but a misunderstanding as two players could not keep the ball on Czech sticks. But now they do, as Radim Štěpaník, and now some open space for Czechs, and a screen shot, and again a good position for the Czechs just wide. There was Daniel Hnízdil who had two great opportunities on this shift. First it was a screen shot, and then he had an excellent opportunity in the slot, but he put it just wide of the net. Tomi Kuru now a one-timer from a pass from behind the net. Now point shot, Czechs pressuring, and now they're trying to get the rebound. Král, he tried to get it back to Tomáš Kudela, who was already headed for a change, so no longer a possession for the Czechs, but still they've had a really productive shift in the last couple of seconds, as the biggest chance was put on the net by Daniel Hnízdil. A 35-year-old forward for the Czechs. And Tomi Kuru stood tall once again. Both netminders now settled into this game, and they are doing a great job of keeping their teams in this game. Face-off will be dropped all over again, and Finland controls it. Manilainen, and he gets the ball back. Manilainen was left alone in front of the net. Another danger in front of Jan Šimara, who made a great save. Still, Finland on the ball. Arttu Viitanen, he puts it on the net. A bouncing ball picked up by the Czechs. Petr Filip now settles down behind their own net. Pavel Kubeš passes on the blue line where Bílý gets it. Filip, Kubeš. Now a quick passes by the Czechs and a good transition. Zdeněk Král, the goal scorer, gets it. Now it's Bílý, but he left the ball behind him. And Pohjola is battling for it. No call, or will it be? A whistle is blown as one of the Czech players is on the ground. Battle with Jari Markus Pohjola, who comes back to check on his opponent. It was Václav. Took a stick to the back, perhaps, or in another sensitive area, and he is still down. Václav Šlehofer, 22-year-old forward for Team Czech Republic, who are still tied with Finland. 1-1 in this second semi-final match at this year's Ball Hockey World Championships. Šlehofer now back to his feet, making his way slowly onto the Czech bench, as he's applauded by Czech fans. So let's see whether there was a penalty on the play or only whistle because of the injury. It looks like no call for this time, as a long shot doesn't quite get to Jan Šimara. We're still playing at full strength on both sides as Czechs now retrieve the ball. They stumble on the blue line by Jaromír Markitan, who allows the Finns to get it, but only for a short moment, as the Czechs now will have to go back into their own zone and behind the net to get the ball. Tomáš Chyba waiting for his teammates. A lot of waiting on both sides so far. Now turnover by the Czechs in dangerous area. Maybe Finns can come up with something. And Mikko Hyvänen has got the ball, but now great job on defense by Czechs, who immediately start going the other way. Now they lose it. Hyvänen, another turnover by the Czechs. Jiří Hrabar was working hard in his defensive zone, and now finally Czechs get out. Dalimil Zvonek, he goes all alone and he's in front of Tommy Kuru, but he stops him. Great work by Zvonek. Still Czechs on the ball. Backhander saved by Tommy Kuru, who's been the hero the past couple of seconds for Finland, as he stopped a breakaway, and then even a great opportunity by the Czechs, who are still pretty aggressive on the forecheck. But now they go for changes. Martin Kruček couldn't get to the ball, so it's Czechs with some pressure towards the end of the second. Now a hard one-timer, this time by Daniel Hnízdil. Czechs obviously want to score still in the second, so they could go into the third with a lead in their pockets. Now on the far post there was Jan Pospíšil, but he could not get his stick on the ball. Kangas the other way, he's got open space. Kangas all alone, and he's stopped by Jan Šimara, who made a great save on the other side. So both teams with some chances in the last minute. which has been really great so far. First it was the Czechs who could have taken the lead, but thanks to this man, Tomi Kuru, it all stands at 1 goal apiece. So Kuru stopped the breakaway, and then Shimara also stopped a breakaway on Kangas. And now a hard collision with the boards, but no goal. It was Vuorenmaa who crashed into the boards hardly. Still Vuorenmaa who got up, since now he tries a backhander, and that will do it for the second. Both teams scored in this 15 minutes. As first it was Zdeněk Král who made it 1-0 Czech Republic. This is that breakaway from a couple of minutes ago, which didn't result in a goal by Dalemil Zvonek. And now the goals. Zdeněk Král opened us up on this shot on a glove hand of Tomi Kuru, but Finland was really quick with the answer, as Toni Lampo capitalized on this breakaway also on a glove hand of Jan Shimura. So after 30 minutes in the Steel Arena in the second semifinal, we are still tied 1-1. Even after 30 minutes in Steel Arena, we are not any closer to find the answer on the question as to who will compete against Slovakia in gold medal game and who will face Canada for a bronze, as Finland and Czech Republic are tied after 30 at 1 goal apiece. First it was Deněk Král who opened the scoring. He surprised Tomi Kuru right after the draw on a shot, but then Finland made it 1 goal each as they scored on the breakaway courtesy of Toni Lampo, and that is as things stand going into the third. All to play for here in Steel Arena, and this is a very important game now, and that is off, and as the whistle blows, and it looks like the draw will stay and Czech zone, as Paulius Kariniemi was on the ball and he was chatting with one of the Czech players. Now it's ready to get dropped again, and it's gonna be Hivenen against Bílý instead, or rather Pavel Kubeš, who loses the draw, but now Czechs control. It's on the forecheck. They could not get the ball, so Czech Republic turns it over. It happened 2 times at least in the second, where Czechs turned the ball over, and it could have been quite costly for them. Now shot is deflected and ends up in the netting, as both teams head for change. So far, not much happening in the third. I forgot to mention that both of these teams already met in the tournament, and it was a decisive victory for the Czechs back in the group stage. They beat Finland 7-2, so it's safe to say that today is gonna be a closer encounter between the two, as Finland is well in this game now. A good intercept by the Finns, who dump it out of their zone as Kangas goes after it, but first one to the ball is Tomáš Šíba. Certainly Finland took its lesson from the first game between the two teams from the group stage. Losing by 5 goals is no joke, and they really put in the work, and this game is different from their side. Certainly the importance also is quite important, as a tripping call is gonna go against the Czechs, as lying down was Dalimil Zvonek, but he tripped up one of the Finnish players going around him with his hand. So an interesting play which hurts the Czechs for the time being, as Finland is playing with 6 guys on the field. Now they dump it in, but there's gonna be nobody there in white jerseys as Tomáš Kudela touches. And now a Finnish power play awaits, as first it was a backhander by Vrobel, and then you can see how Dalimil Zvonek tripped up Kangas, and he now goes to the box. Certainly in a close game like this, every call is crucial, and this one might be as well, as Finland heads to the power play. They have had no power play opportunities in the second, but they did have 3 man advantages in the first. But this is definitely the biggest one so far, as Lauri Viitanen gets it and behind the net of Tomi Kuru. He tries to get the power play going. Still no transition into the offensive zone, as For a change now, one of the Czech players ends up on the ground as Hivonen is scrambling against Jan Pospíšil, and 2 other players are also chatting, but no. Nothing doing on that part, and it is Huki who will sit alongside Dalimil Zvonek. So we're gonna see a 4-on-4 ball hockey. Once again, we already saw it in the first, and a slashing call by Huki, who really unnecessarily slashed his opponent. It was Martin Špaček. It was right in front of the referee, who didn't hesitate and made the call. So 4-on-4 for the time being, and the Czechs will only have a short power play afterwards. But they still have a chance to score. A cross check, and it's not called on Pavel Kubeš. As Finland quickly transitions, Pietzalo. He is stripped of the ball by Václav Schlehofer, who now controls. He waits for his teammates to change. Leaves it up for Tomáš Chyba. Still another 45 seconds to go on Dalimil Zvonek penalty. So perhaps a lot of waiting on the Czech side until he comes back in the game. Now a bad pass for Finland and a turnaround from Tomáš Vrobel, who's been perhaps the most dangerous player on Czech side. He's really been everywhere, especially around the net, where he made things difficult for Tomi Kuru. He protects the ball so well with his body, and Tomáš Vrobel has really been the man for the Czechs tonight, even though he didn't score. It's always a high alert when he is in the game. Now, penalty to Dalimil Zvonek is over, so Czechs on a short power play. They'll still have another 15 seconds to go as they quickly change their unit. It's dumped in, it was deflected, so no icing. Now, still Czechs on the ball. Martin Špaček controls in the corner. Now a one-timer from the point, gets blocked. Daniel Hnízdil. Finland at full strength. Huki is back on the field. Now a hard shot, another block. This time by the Finns, who are still under some pressure by Czechs. Hnízdil protects the ball. Now he tries to turn with it, but to no avail, as a good job by Ahola, who prevented him from doing so. Now behind the net it's Radim Štěpánik. So a good shift by the Czechs after the power play is over, but this block shot will result in a clearing attempt, which was successful, and it wasn't even an icing, as Jan Šimara had to get out of his net to play it. So we're still tied 1-1. Zdeněk Král tried to make a pass to his teammate, but Pavel Kubeš didn't get to the ball. Still Czechs successful on the forecheck. Petr Filip pinches in from defense. Now he has to get back, and he has to do so very quickly because Finland's got a chance, and now an offside is the call. Little bit of a late whistle from the referees, as Finland players are not quite happy about the call being made. Obviously, because Johannes Pukema was ready to get a shot on goal, and this is a replay of good work by Tomáš Vrobel, who several times already in this game showed off great work around opposition's net. So both teams go for a change, and 5-on-5 ball hockey will continue after this commercial break. as Vitanen chats with a referee. And an interesting sight as Tomi Kuru was close to the bench, and he might be substituted by his teammate as Vilehard Kuusamo makes his way into Finland's net, so maybe some health issue for Tomi Kuru, as certainly it was not a performance decision because Kuru has been sharp so far. So let's see how Vilehard Kuusamo jumps into this game. Certainly it's not easy for him. Of course, a backup goalie has to be ready to come into the game at any time, but now it didn't look like Tomi Kuru was gonna get substituted, so let's see how he deals with it. Now a 25-year-old Vilehard Kuusamo manning the net for Finland. Before this face-off, there was a bit of a stick check by one of the Finnish wingers, but now the play goes on as Pietzalo gets it deep in the zone. Now a point shot in the corner to Toni Lampo, who makes the play to Pietzalo. Now trying to get the ball where the checks, and it looks like a tripping call, not a penalty according to the refs, as they let the play go on. Still 5-on-5 ball hockey. Now a long pass, the offensive blue line, another collision. This time Tomáš Vrobel ended up on the ground. Certainly the referees don't want to interrupt play for penalties on either side, with the game being at the stage where it is. Only some minutes remain in the third. We're still tied up between Czech Republic and Finland in a battle for a place in the final. Now a draw, and Finland's zone is controlled by men in white. Kariniemi comes up with the ball. He tried to pass, but it was intercepted by the Czechs, who can build on it. Now Martin Špaček, he was checked hard by Marietta, who tried to dump the ball out, but he could not do it. Czechs control. Now a point shot. Battling for the rebound. There was one of the Czechs, and now he gets tangled up with Ahola. And now they will both stand up, as Špaček was trying to deflect the shot from the point. It was a hard one by Tomáš Kudela, but Martin Špaček could not deflect it onto the net of Tomi Kuru. So another stoppage and a draw in Finland's zone after a couple of seconds. Now Zdeněk Král, the goal scorer, protects the ball along the boards. Another Czech player is on the ground this time. Bílý gets it though. And open, waiting for the ball to come out, was Pavel Kubeš, but eventually it did not get to him. Instead it's cleared all the way into the Czech zone, where it's controlled by Czech defenseman Petr Filip. He gets the ball back as we are going into the last 7 minutes of regulation. Still an overtime remains an option in this game if we won't see a goal on either side in the last minutes. That is what awaits us. An extra time, a 10-minute extra time, and that now a long pass on the offensive blue line, and Tomáš Vrobel was trying to make the play, but he could not find any of his teammates. Now Kuru makes the save, or rather, it is Kuusamo. I forgot for a moment that he substituted Tomi Kuru. It is Vilahard Kuusamo who makes the save to get settled into this game. Certainly it's hard for the goalkeeper to come in the game, especially on an occasion like this. But so far so good for Kuusamo. Now Czechs win another face-off. Battle in the corner where Dalimil Zvonek protects the puck from Hiven, and now he leaves it for his teammate, and he could not get the pass to the front of the net. Still the Czechs control. Now a hard point shot courtesy of Jakub Markitan, or Jaromír Markitan rather. Now still Czechs on the ball. Dalimil Zvonek behind the net. A little bit of pressure by the Czechs in the last 6 minutes of regulation in this second semi-final. And a pass, a dangerous one. Kuusamo had to be sharp, but he didn't have to make the save. As Czechs go for a change, as well as Finland. Nobody wants to make a mistake now. It's certainly an important time in this game. And now Jan Šimara rather covers. We know how Finland handled this type of situation in the quarterfinals, where they were down by 1 and they scored 2 goals in the last 5 minutes. So they showed their mental strength in that game. And let's see whether they saved best for last for this semi-final as well, as now we're definitely in the dying minutes of this semi-final, as Czech Republic on the ball. Still quite a lot of time to go. Now Martin Špaček crossed the blue line, but it was offside, as one of his teammates was already in the offensive zone. A lot of stoppage and play on both sides. A sloppy third period. The only goals have been scored in the second. Czechs certainly expected a challenge in this game. They could not have imagined it would have been as easy as in the group stage, when they put 7 past Finland's defense. But it shows how Finland has improved throughout the tournament, as they are now tied in the semi-final. A hard point shot. It deflects back in front of the net, where Finland takes it. Now a rush by the Finns, and could not be controlled by Toni Eskanen, who loses it. Now a good job in the neutral zone by Pavel Kubeš. He's got Zdeněk Král, the goal scorer, behind the net. Král protects the ball. Now he tries to turn with it and fire. It gets blocked. Still Zdeněk Král. Now he backhands it on the point. And to take it out of the zone is Jaromír Markitan, who rather waits for his teammates to change. Obviously it's visible on both sides that nobody wants to make a potentially lethal mistake. The stakes are really high. It's all to play for in the last 3 minutes, 15 seconds of regulation. Now Markitan makes the first pass. Martin Kruček across the red line, now into the zone by Tomáš Vrobel, who chases the ball. But first one to it is Arttu Viitanen. He's in the corner, now he loses it. And a great chance for the Czechs. Maybe the biggest one in the third, as they've had a clear shot on goal. Now another point shot. This time it gets back in front of the crease, and the net is off. So really, Czech Republic was close to taking the lead once again in this game, as Vilahard Kusamo is still keeping his team in it. Martin Kruček made a play which led to this shot, which was stopped by Vilahard Kusamo, and then the second one from the point, which deflected. Back in front of Finnish netminder, it was Tomáš Kudela who really put a lot on this shot. Now a one face-off and another hard snapshot by the Czechs. Kudela dumps it in. Vadim Štěpánik, he immediately turns and fires. So Czechs willing to risk more than the Finns right now. They try to end it here in regulation. Now Daniel Hnízdil with 2 minutes 15 seconds to go. Yeah, but he collides with Martin Špáček, his teammate, but the Czechs are able to control. Now Hnízdil loses it. A chance the other way. But a long pass could not be reached by Ivanen, and back the other way. The Czechs go. We're in the final 2 minutes of regulation. Good play by Petr Filip, who dumped it deep for Bílý. He now ends up on his knees, and Finland can clear, and they do. It's past the red line. So a partial success for Finland, who can complete a change. Now Pavel Kubeš, he tried to kick the ball, but there was nobody home for the Czechs, who have to cross the blue line again, and they are successful. Bílý takes a hard shot on the blocker side of Kusamo, who made a save. Now Finland back the other way. Kangas could not get to the ball. Again, Czechs with great transition and an open space, this time for Tomáš Vrobel, who was left open. But he could not get much to the shot, as he was checked by Juuso Nieminen, who takes it in the last minute. Certainly a goal at either side at this time of the game would be maybe decisive. Now Arttu Viitola, or Viitanen rather. Still Viitanen, he dumps it in. Vuorenmaa now protecting the ball. Finland would like to spend the rest of the third period right here in the offensive zone. Vuorenmaa, but a hand pass is being called, and the play will come outside of the Czech zone with still another 20 seconds to go in regulation, as we are still waiting for the third score in this game, and it looks like whoever scores the next goal will be victorious. And this semi-final, Finland still with another rush in the offensive zone, as Kariniemi works, trying to work the ball free. Now he's getting help from his teammates, and with 3 seconds to go, whistle is gone, and Hnízdil only shakes his head, as it's obviously not so good for the Czechs. Another face-off in their own zone, and 3 seconds are still quite a lot of time for Finland to win a draw and fire. They shot at this man, Jan Šimara, so let's see who takes it. Perhaps the best face-off man in Finland's team, Mikko Hivonen, will try to win it. And now a timeout's been called. Obviously, both coaches want their team to be prepared for whatever comes after the ball is dropped. It is now certain that the Czechs will not win this game in regulation, as they are too far from the net of Vilahard Kusamo, but Finland can still end it here, as we have another 3 seconds or so to go It would be a huge goal for Finland. That's needless to say. So Hivanen back on the field for a draw. I think he's up against the Hnízdil. And Finland wins the draw, but two Czech players come down to block the shot. So after 45 minutes, we still don't know which team will join Slovakia in the final, as we now take a short break, and we'll definitely get back to Steel Arena in time for start of overtime. So let's see whether 10-minute 5-on-5 overtime decides as to who will prevail in this close contested semi-final match between Finland and Czech Republic, as we now enter a 10-minute overtime period. Only 2 goals have been scored so far, courtesy of Zdeněk Král and Tony Lampo. Now Finland on the breakaway. Kangas, he's got some open space. He tried a forehand, had a good blocker save by, or a bad save rather, by Jan Šimara. Now Czechs going back the other way, as waiting for it was Pavel Kubeš. Now he gets it, Zdeněk Král. He's got some open space. Good block of the pass by Lampo, I think. So almost the entire minute has gone in the overtime. No score on either side. Overtime in the playoffs is being played 5-on-5. So So not a real difference between regulation and overtime at this stage of the tournament as far as number of players on the field. There go, and now Czechs control after the face-off. Still turning with it from behind the net. It gets back to Czech sticks. Jan Pospíšil, but he loses it. Now a chance for Pukema to get it out. And Pukema gets it back on the right wing. He's pushed by Jaromír Markitán, and he now is able to come up with the ball, or rather it was his teammate, and then a chance developing, but Radim Štěpánik could not turn with the ball. Still, after a turnover, Czechs can force the attack. Now, Martin Špaček, he takes it into the corner. Vitanen is on him now. Daniel Hnízdil, back to the point. Hnízdil is with the ball again, and he tried a shot, another rebound opportunity, but it's gloved by Vilehard Kuusamo for a whistle. So, another busy couple of moments in front of Finland's goal, as we still await a potential golden goal on either side. Whoever scores in overtime advances into the final, and when no goals are scored in the 10 extra minutes, we'll see a shootout. Now a point shot. Hard one by Petr Filip. Ends up out of play. So another stoppage. Both teams have certainly put in 100% tonight in this game, and one of them is going to be really disappointed because the Bold have been quite good in this game, and both coaches can really be satisfied with the performance of their players. Now a sloppy play, but Lindfors gets it back. Chance for Finns and their transition. It is successful, and a bit of an open space only momentarily for Männäläinen. And now Männäläinen gets back to it, and he scores to advance Finland into the final. That's unbelievable. Hans Männäläinen is the hero for Finland. He puts the rebound past Jan Šimara. And not many of ball hockey experts predicted Finland to go as far in the tournament, but they managed to do so. On this goal by Hans Männäläinen, the 23-year-old forward who took the ball in front of Jan Šimara. He's got some open space, and he put it past the Czech netminder, who is still down. Obviously, big disappointment for Czech Republic. After beating Finland 7-2 in the group stage, now they lose to the same opponent with a heartbreaking score of 2-1. Obviously, these fans will be quite disappointed. So Finland will face Slovakia in the final, and they can still dream about a gold medal. It really looks like Finland loves Slovakia in the past months, as you already surely know. Finland also took gold in ice hockey world championships in Bratislava, where they beat Canadians in the final. Now Finland will not face Canada. Instead, they will have a crack at the home team. And if this match was tough for Finland, then an even tougher awaits, as Hans Menlanen is the hero for Finland in overtime. Czechs have played a great game, they've had a great tournament, but ultimately they lose to Finland in the semifinals, and they will have to battle it out with Canada for a bronze medal. Not a lot of time to get ready for that match, as it starts tomorrow, but the Czechs have to find some energy. Now, best players of each team. I imagine on Finland's side it's gonna be the goal scorer Hans Menlanen, who fired a rebound past Jan Šimara. Menlanen found a open ball. It got tangled up in between 4 players who were battling in front of the crease. And now a disappointed Zdeněk Král goes for the trophy of the best player, certainly not the result Czechs were hoping for. But no time to feel bad for themselves, because they have a game tomorrow. And for Finland, as I suspected, it's Hans Menlanen. He's been the hero tonight. And certainly only one team can advance, and it were the Finns tonight. It will be the Czechs, 2-1 in overtime. And now Finland will have a chance to listen to their national anthem. Finland can celebrate as they advance into tomorrow's final against the home team. And only disappointment looms for Czech Republic, as they really wanted to have a crack at gold medal, but now they will only have to focus on the bronze medal contest. We'll see whether Tomi Kuru will play tomorrow, or it will be Kusamo, who made a good job as a backup. He had to jump into the game, and he didn't allow the Czechs to score. They've certainly had their chances, but ultimately Menlanen decided this close contest. So that's it for me for today. But I certainly hope that you will join us again tomorrow for the last day of Ball Hockey World Championships 2019 in Slovakia, as the medal games wait. So I hope to see you soon or hear from you, and for now, it's all from me. So long.